Hi, everybody. Good evening. Elizabeth Diamond here with the Diamonds Network, and it's the Diamonds Forever 3113 show tonight. And we have a special guest, Athens Chimenti. We have Cynthia here, and we have Candy Shop with the Candy Shop News. And Athens, I was on the show a couple times last year, I believe, with himself, and then also with Julian Wells. And Julian knows very well here in the Diamonds Network. So, and I'm very excited to have him co-create with Cynthia tonight, the highest good of all concerned. I'm asking that now for tonight's show and for everybody on the call and that listens. Highest good of all concerned, because we are all one. And when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. So therefore, in the name of who I am, who we are, and I am one with all that there is, I ask that only the highest good of all concerned happen, and a toast of wrapped in supreme happiness with maximum efficiency, minimum effort, as a little bright spot in that little mix there. So welcome, everybody. Let's get started. Have Athens introduce himself, and Cynthia, they both know astrology, and I like them to co-create tonight. I asked Athens, and like Cynthia always does, she brings the energies of the week coming in. So he's going to do that with Cynthia tonight. Surprise, Cynthia! And Athens going to kind of give us an overview of the rest of the year going through, and I'm sure Cynthia can add to it. So it's going to be a very awesome night tonight. So good evening, Athens Chimenti. How are you?
Good evening, Elizabeth. Very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to hear from you. Be on again. I'm excited. And yeah, Cynthia, welcome. Yeah, Cynthia. Meet Cynthia. Cynthia Rose Young Schlischer.
Cynthia Rose Young will work. That's what I'm known as an artist. Good to meet you.
You too. You too, Cynthia.
So I want to start this out with you guys co-creating, the energies for this week. And then after the discussion of this and this year, I want to have Athens give a little bit of his background in astrology, and he has a little bit of a twist added onto his astrology, and it's going to be really good, and other things. So let's get started. How about if you guys go back and forth? Athens, you can give a little bit, and then Cynthia can add to it, and keep going back and forth for our energies coming up. And the energies in the astrology are important, you guys, because we learn from them. We can help heal ourselves and love ourselves, because love conquers all, with these tools given through the energy update we get every week. So let's get started. How's that? Is that okay, Athens?
Sounds wonderful.
Sounds great. Do you want to start it off, Cynthia?
Either way is fine with me.
All right. Well, let's talk about this Venus opposing up to Mars, because that's probably the major thing, and then maybe that Jupiter square up to Saturn that we got on Thursday.
Okay, your guys are still on. I was just fixing the room. Go for it.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, let's talk about this Venus opposing up to Mars. So this is the classic yin and yang balancing here. We've got these two planets, Venus, the feminine aspects of the self, and Mars, the masculine aspects of the self, in opposition. So this is about balance, and really synergizing these seemingly different and disparate aspects of self, but they're really they're two sides of the same coin. And bringing these two elements within self, finding that balance between the receptive feminine side and that active masculine side, I think is going to be very key this week. And I think this could probably shape up in relationships, because usually that's the case with these two planets, but within ourselves primarily. And I think finding that balance within self, synergizing these polarities is going to be a big emphasis with that. So how about you, Cynthia? How would you read that?
Let me just add. Now, funny, Cynthia and everybody in Athens, you mentioned just that, because we've been studying sacred sexuality, marriage in ourselves, loving ourselves, and Prince was a sign of that, and we've talked about that. But yeah, go for it, Cynthia.
Okay, Ashton, what day is it? Thursday that they go exact?
It's Tuesday and Wednesday, so tomorrow
Tuesday and
Wednesday.
Wednesday. And what degree? Is Mars at 2 Sag rounded up?
Well, yeah, so I guess we'll get into it. So the type of system that I use is sidereal.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, you use sidereal too?
Oh, no, excuse me, I don't. I use the tropical Placidus. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically the signs are going to be different, I believe. I'm not sure what's going on in the tropical chart, but in the system I use, there's no real degrees because it's using the actual size of the constellations, and all the constellations are different sizes. But it's definitely going to be pulling on this Taurus, because in the sky with sidereal, if you look up at the sky, we've got Venus and the Sun in Taurus. And so that's one side of it. There's a lot of sensuality in the air. It's really good to have that relaxation, that good meal, the sensual enjoyments of life in that very balanced way, with moderation and all this. But that's a great source of enjoyment and energy. And that's the Venus side of it. So that could be coming through again, the connections and relationships. Completely opposite, that is Mars, who's retrograde right in between Scorpio and Libra in this system. So this is pulling on the fact that we've been reflecting a lot of deep stuff lately, and that's really the key with all these retrograde planets. But with Mars in Scorpio, this has been really diving deep to explore more of the self and what those deep values are. But Mars is shifting into Libra retrograde this week, so this is where I think the relationship side of it's really coming into the picture, and having balance, is key. Having balance and tact in our interactions, in our relationships, and that truth and openness and vulnerability that can really come through them as well.
So what did you get, Cynthia, and what you...
Well, this is fascinating because the two systems we use are so different. If my understanding is correct, sidereal is how things appear from the Earth. In other words, as you're looking up at the sky, you locate these different planets exactly as they appear from the Earth. Mm-hmm. And one astrologer that I deeply respect, who's very enlightened, said that is how the energies will play out on the physical plane, whereas the system I use, the tropical, is more of the astral plane. It's more of a mathematical system, mm-hmm. how it is, and more of a mathematical. It's sort of similar, and this may be totally wrong, and Ashton, if you can enlighten me on this, I would love it, but it's like if you look at railroad tracks going off into the distance, the lines appear to meet. They really do, and you can photograph it, and they still appear to meet, and you can get 100 people looking, and it appears to meet to every last one of them. But if you actually walk down the tracks, they never meet. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the constellations from the Earth, they appear a certain way. And it'll appear that way to everybody, and there is a validity to it. If you instead go at it from a more of a archetypal point of view, if you look at it from more of an archetypal point of view where the energies, not as they appear from the Earth, but as they appear in the psyche, more or less the divine psyche, then you get the planets slightly differently because of the progression of the equinoxes and various things that as we go through space and time with the sidereal, it changes things away from this more mathematical model that I use. Ashton, could you enlighten us more? What do you think?
Well I'm experiment here. I wanted you guys just to go back to get what you got. No matter, it's okay if there's differences, but go back and forth.
Elizabeth, I can't hear you. You're kind of cutting in and out.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I think so.
Can you hear me now? I want you guys just to go.
Are you on speaker, Elizabeth? Yeah, we can't hear you very well.
Okay, hold on. I gotta go upstairs.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me? Go.
Not yet. We're getting there.
Okay.
Aha! Now that sounded better. Okay, good.
Okay. So I'm doing a little experiment here. After we bring forth the energies of the week and the year, I want to talk about the two different, you guys' too. So far you explained both of yours a little bit, but let's just go back and forth and bring what you got, Cynthia, bring what you got, Athens, for the week.
Okay, that sounds like a winner.
And then we'll do for the year, and then we're going to explain the two at the end. I'm doing a little experiment with Creator.
Oh,
okay,
it's beautiful.
so what did you get this?
Beautiful.
Athens said something. Now you say something, Cynthia, and go back.
Okay. According to my system, I didn't do the chart for Tuesday and Wednesday. I just did it for tonight at 9:00. But what I'm going to do here, since they are basically opposing even in my chart, it's just not exact right now, is Venus is conjunct Admetos, I believe is the name of this symbol here, and they're both at 30 degrees Taurus, which is the waters of life. This is where we learn to charge our emotions on the astral plane, and we learn to charge the actual physical waters in our bodies, because we're walking oceans. Our bodies are like 80% water, and the constitution of our bodies is pretty much like the ocean as far as the minerals, the salt, the pH, and stuff like that. This is where Venus is urging us to purify our emotional bodies. Now, Venus is the magnetic spin of divine love. Mars is the electric spin of divine love. When you have an electromagnetic vortex, you have a scalar wave. So with these two things in opposition, it's basically saying we're creating a scalar wave of love where we are giving and receiving. It creates an interdimensional doorway, sort of like a wormhole. Where
there's that sacred sexuality again, you guys.
Yeah, it is.
My goodness. We prepared for it. Now we're getting that energy. Do you see that, you guys? Everybody listening? It's just awesome.
And so with Venus at the place of the waters of life, of purifying our emotions, and thereby, because emotions affect the quantum field, thereby manifesting really our immortal bodies. That the urge is for us to, it's like the Bible says, the last enemy to be overcome is death. The urging is for us to receive the emotional energy that will allow us to go into our divinity, even on the physical plane. Now, Mars is conjunct the Earth today. They're a few degrees off. I'm sorry. Mars tonight is at the place of fire and water, where we perfect our divine will, and we learn how to match our emotions to what we're willing. Now, this is the law of attraction on steroids, where we imagine what we want, realize the power of our imagination, that we are creators, and then in deep meditation, feel the emotions of our creation as if they're happening now. And this is, of course, the law of attraction action. So you've got Venus saying, okay, we have got to purify the emotional realm and the physical realm. And Mars is saying, yeah, we've got to get control of our desire nature, take it away from Madison Avenue and pushing the latest car and, false flag. Take it away. Take away your desire nature from everything you've been taught, everything you've ever been known, and go within and find out what's in your heart that you really want, that as a divine being that's different from anyone else, there's no two people with DNA alike. You've come down here with a specific desire for the planet. Get in touch with that and just ramp it up big time, and then feel the emotions of what that's going to be like when that manifests. And so Mars is saying, okay, we've got to do our vision, and Venus is saying, yeah, you're right, and that vision has got to cleanse our emotional plane and our physical bodies. So that's what I've got as far as the Venus-Mars opposition going on right now. So back to you, Ashton.
Oh, okay. That was very beautiful. So So I guess we can talk about the Jupiter squaring up to Saturn.
Ooh, I love it.
this is actually it's quite major because
rock and roll.
These are two very slow-moving planets.
Yep.
And this does not happen very often. And this is actually the last of these squares that we've had going on since August of last year with these two planets. So it's kind of like this final culmination. A lot of the stuff that we've been really having to be patient with. You know, Jupiter is the expansion. It's everything we want in life. It's the possibilities. Saturn is the limitation. It's having to be patient and responsible and do the long-term thing versus the short-term thing. So this energy has, and this is going to be exact on Thursday, this energy is about merging these two as well, just as the opposition sort of is. This square is requiring that integration. And the integration here is to continue to expand, see what's possible, but at the same time take it slow and be patient with ourselves and understand this is a long-term process in terms of what is expanding. And there is a lot expanding. In sidereal, the North Node and Jupiter have recently shifted into Leo this year. So although Jupiter has been retrograde, he just recently went direct about a couple weeks ago, there is these possibilities slowly starting to gain that momentum in terms of what gives us joy, what gives us that sense of passion in life and self-expression. And that stuff is definitely being cultivated, but then Saturn's there squaring it saying, okay, but let's make sure we're doing this in a slow way, right? Make sure it's built correctly and patiently. So it can also add to some of the confusion we've had because Jupiter is opposing up to Neptune, creating this T-square. So this is the fact that we just don't know collectively where we're headed right now. And there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. But here with this particular square, this is about taking action nonetheless. Even though we don't know exactly where we're going, having that patient, that wherewithal sort of approach to build what we at least feel or what we aspire to do, right, or see possible in the future. And it's really combining the expansion of Jupiter with that self-imposed limitation of Saturn to make sure that it's nice and grounded and nice and real. Hello?
Cynthia?
Oh, I was just taking that in. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What I would add to it with my system is Jupiter is at the place of medicine and healing. And Jupiter is like our accumulated good karma of all lifetimes as a collective. And so we are going to be entering a time of real medicine and real healing. Not the kind that's based on a corporate bottom line. Interesting, because Saturn in this system is exactly at the place of trade and money. And so what this is saying is, yeah, we're going to be doing the medicine and healing, but you really better look at the trade and money aspect and get real. The square forces a change. And Saturn is saying you have got to build a firm foundation for medicine and healing, and you've got to look at trade and money as it applies to medicine and healing. And if we do that historically with all the news that's been coming out, it's been a conflict of interest. In other words, if you can keep people sick and keep them getting sicker, they will spend any amount of money for their loved ones, for themselves, to try to get well. So if you keep people well, you're not going to make any money according to that kind of reasoning. So it was a conflict of interest. You know, if you get these doctors going through schools where they have huge student loans, and the same people that run the schools run the pharmaceutical companies and buy off the politicians, you get this money-making machine that basically feeds off people getting sick and paying huge amounts of money for prescriptions and things. You add to that pretty much the same people are rubbing shoulders with the food people. So you get foods like GMOs that'll make them sick. You get the vaccines. It's just this whole huge thing that has evolved. And I'm so sorry. You know, I want to apologize on behalf of the whole being of God to everybody who, in trust and innocence, thought they were going to people who had their best interest at heart. And, you find out 10 years later, 20 years later that, these medicines have all these horrible side effects. You find out this, you find out that, and you're going, oh, my goodness, who can you trust? So I see this square is forcing us as a world to look at this dynamic between medicine and healing and trade and money and get it real and get it right. If you make your money by keeping people sick and just treating symptoms, that is a crime against humanity. That is called bad karma. Now, Jupiter, and according to some books I've read, is the accumulated good karma of mankind, not bad karma. So we are going to, as a collective, get it together about what really heals and what medicines really do work. And Saturn is over there. Saturn is a taskmaster. I mean, Saturn you don't negotiate with. When Saturn comes in there, you do what Saturn says or it don't work. And Saturn is saying you have got to look at this whole dynamic around trade and money as it relates to medicine and healing, because that's what time it is. And Saturn is restrictive. Saturn is a stern taskmaster, and he's going to force this thing. This is just my opinion here, looking at these things. This Saturn-Jupiter square is going to force the healing of healing. It's going to force the healing of trade and money, especially as it applies to our health and to our medicine. So, Ashton, what do you think of that?
That's very interesting, because sidereally, Saturn's actually, in the sky transiting Scorpio, and that's, as you know, all about healing, and it's all about medicine and all these kinds of things. And with Saturn retrograde, this is all the time to be reflecting on this and really thinking about this and re-examining individually what our medical community is actually doing and the industries. And, having this approach of learning about it, re-examining it.
Yeah.
So I think that's right on. And I think that's definitely something going on collectively. And I think individually, something we can be doing with our own health. Where can we heal? Where can we accept? Where can we do that transformation, both physically, mentally, and spiritually, that does take the hard work and does take that stern approach and does require us to see the truth of what might need to have that work done, within self to heal and to have that transformation. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's a very good point with the medical industry for sure.
Do I detect a slight understatement?
Is there anything for, I know, Ace, oh my God, my brother.
No, it's all right.
I'm trying to get this right. Athens. I'm trying to tell myself over and over, don't say a sound. Athens. Athens ran this week. Is there any bigger other highlights out of the week that you could comment on, and then Cynthia can comment what she knows?
Those are the two major things going on this week, other than the lunar aspects. Of course, we just had Mercury direct, so things are slowly but surely moving forward with the daily activities and the routines and those kinds of things. The moon's quite...
Oh, what is your north node? And then maybe Cynthia can tell her north node.
Where's the north node in the sky?
Yeah, for
in
you.
Leo, like I was
and
saying.
What's that?
Where we're learning about our self-expression and the things we're interested in and our passions and these kinds of things this year.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, what's the north node for you?
According to this, today the north node has retrograded back into 18 Virgo, which is architecture and structural engineering. So here we are going to be confronting medicine and trade and money, and here we are going to be looking at the purification not only of the earth's waters but our own waters within our own bodies. But we're also, with this north node at architecture and structural engineering, we're going to be, this is what I'm hoping is going to happen. I am just adamant that things be beautiful. I think as divine beings, just the way we work, the optic nerve, the pineal gland, the way our glands work, we have to have beauty in our environment. And what I'm hoping this North Node means is that when we take into account real health, not just physical health, but emotional health and mental health, which would be medicine and healing, we will look at the structures that we build, and we will take into account ley lines of the earth, what kind of frequencies the shapes of buildings make, a dodecahedron, a pyramid, a box, a square. We will look at the beauty aspect. Does it uplift us to look at this building, to be in this building? Does it create emotions within us that affect the quantum field in such a way that magical things happen in the building or happen by looking at the building? How is it affecting the environment? How is it affecting the ecosystem, this building or group of buildings? I am hoping with this North Node that the world in general would just look at our surroundings as far as architectural and structural engineering goes and say, what have we created? What have we done? Why are people fleeing the cities? Why do they go out into the country and they become totally different people? Why can't we turn our cities and even buildings out in the country into, even if they're small, they could be domes, they could be pyramids, they could be sacred geometry shapes. Like you take a teepee, it's a cone, and cones have very healing properties. I mean, there's just books and books and books and books and books written on it. Why are we building boxes? What does living in a box do? Like today, I was watching this whole program on how 60 hertz cancer cells will grow 5 times faster in 60 hertz frequencies. Well, guess what? They've got boxes on our power lines so that we're surrounded by 60 hertz. And that sounds a whole lot to me, like the same people doing the genetically modified organisms and producing medicines that make people sicker. What is this thing around making us sick and making us crazy? What is all that? And with that Jupiter there, with the Saturn there, with the North Node here, I think we're going to be looking at it in a holistic way. We're going to look at the whole all the contributing factors of medicine and healing, including what kind of structures we live in, their shapes and how it appeals to us, and what kind of frequencies they make. So that's my comment on the North Node right now. And from my mouth to God's ear, I hope.
Well, when you're explaining this, both of you, when you guys are bringing this out, I'm imagining, there's just a knowing that if you can go inside yourself when you're listening to this, you can imagine collective consciousness thinking of all these thoughts and changing the paradigm, and you singly and you and us together. These are the thoughts that we're thinking and what these guys are bringing up, and that will change things. So there you have it, the week of energies in a nutshell, and today's energies. And now what I like to do is bring in an important angel message that Cynthia, just so Athens knows, she writes this Divine Sky book. There's 360 angels assigned to each degree around the earth, and there's a book that correlates to the astrology that's up for the moment. So I wanted Cynthia to come up with one of the angels, and Mary or Marianne could read it. And then we're going to go to Athens, and he's going to give us the rest of 2016 year in review. And I want to just let everybody know how to get a hold of Athens and what he does, and we'll discuss a few more things. How's that game plan, you guys? So, Cynthia, what do you think of the important angel would be to read?
Well, since Mercury just went direct, and it is exactly conjunct the part of fortune tonight. They're both at 15 Taurus, and 15 Taurus is sudden good fortune. I think we ought to read that. Marianne, what do you think? Taurus.
That sounds great.
Yay! Would you mind reading?
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay.
15 Taurus. There we go. Can I just kind of digress here just a minute before we?
And you what?
Can I digress just for a minute before?
Oh, I would love that. Thank you.
I'd just like to add one comment when you were talking about the architectural structure.
Yes.
And healing. When you said that, a flash of information about the Twin Towers came, and the healing of this information coming out and moving forward.
Oh, yes.
On so many levels.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'd like to say about that.
Man, when you just said that, I got it. I could feel it in my heart. That's powerful.
So, let's move on. Thank you. Let's move on. 15 degrees Taurus. It is Jeromomi. The angels of sudden good fortune. Beloved, making money easily and quickly, finding hidden treasures, winning at speculative ventures. All such fall under our range of competence. There are times when divine love sees wisdom in bringing good luck for the purpose of transmutation, harmony, justice, change, and happiness, activating clear inner guidance and direction of cause and effect. Such wealth, riches, and surplus money brings happiness and harmony, and not hindrance to spiritual development. You may contact us through meditation on the letters of our name with requests for good fortune to come your way, which we are happy to bring about if it is the best interest of all. And that is 15 degrees Taurus. And back to you.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that tonight they are exactly conjunct the part of Fortune and Mercury, just after Mercury turning direct. And sudden good fortune, I would like to say this too. The middle degree of any constellation is its purest essence, because it's the furthest from the constellation before it and furthest from the constellation following it. And so this is the purest essence of Taurus, where Mercury stations and going direct with the part of Fortune. And we're hearing all this stuff about the collateral accounts. We're hearing it about the dinar, the RV, about the Chinese elders, about going from fiat money where they just keep printing it, there's no real value to it, to having actually gold-backed money and precious metals-backed money and commodities-backed money, so that the money actually has value. And there's been this huge shift in banking and the countries coming together. So what I'm hearing is, from the Ben Fulford report today, and I've been hearing it for a long, long time, for decades actually, is that there is a move to end this huge disparity between rich and poor, and to bring abundance to everybody, to every man, woman, and child on this planet, so that we can have a planet of plenty, we can have a planet of health, we can have a planet of beauty. Really a paradise. This planet is a paradise if we do it right. And so I see this in line with what we're saying about Jupiter and Saturn and the other indicators in this chart. For example, Neptune is at the place of other worlds. We hear all this stuff about UFOs, about galactivizing. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Also this thing about access to higher dimensions. That place called the vertex is also at the place of interplanetary spheres, which can be taken literally as people, physical people in UFOs coming down here, or it can be taken as interdimensional activity with beings of higher frequencies who are less dense than we are. So there's this huge activity here that I can see to bring about healing on this planet. It's just all over the chart, especially with Pluto at the place of crystals and stones. There's been a huge attack on the Earth with nuclear explosions, with fracking, with scalar machines, with the HARP, with the Hadron Collider and other such technology. There's been this huge attack on the Earth. And Pluto is at a place where it's saying, not going to let it happen. And Pluto will reveal everything, the bad and the good. So it's going to be an exciting, sitting on the edge of your seat, thriller diller, I think, this summer, because we have all these mutable signs, which means people are going to be changing their mind and seeing things from different points of view, both about the past and the future.
Wow, Cynthia. Well, now let's add that to what Athens has.
Yes.
Bring us through the rest of 2016, Athens, the rest of spring, this summer, this fall, and winter.
All right, sounds good. So let's start with June, because May is finishing up here. I think the big one that everyone's anticipating, at least in the astrological community, is Mars going direct. There's been a lot of this, like I was saying, a lot of planets retrograde. And here specifically with this reflection on our energy, our motivation, our independence, learning more about ourselves. This goes back to especially this reflection of the deeper self of that Scorpio. Now, with Mars dipping into Libra, like I was saying, there's this reflection in terms of where we can have more balance in our life, more mutuality, more mutual respect, tact, these kinds of things. And that energy is going to go direct in Libra at the end of June. So there is this shift in terms of, I think, what we're reflecting on about independence, about directness, etc., that is going to take a new direction going into July. And that is a forward-moving energy, too, where we could perhaps feel a bit more motivated, direct, independent, and applying that in the interpersonal part of our life, but also in our personal life, again, with that balance and harmony. Now, June's quite a big month, actually. We do have Saturn squaring up to Neptune. So this goes back to the uncertainty thing. Now, this is the last one as well. So when it comes to this one, this is the slow and steady approach, not knowing exactly where we're going. In fact, June does have I believe it's the new moon that has a grand cross. So there's a lot of this constructive energy that we can really put into June. Take the the grounded approach, really work hard and actually see things in the long term, even though, again, there may be that uncertainty if we're trying to figure it out. But the key with Neptune is that it's about letting go, right? It's about having faith and trust and acceptance and really being in the present moment. And that's a huge spiritual transformation process that can be available through that discipline, right? The spiritual discipline of working on our spiritual selves. So that, along with Jupiter trining up to Pluto for the last time as well, this is actually the grand trine we've had in the sky with Pluto, the North Node, Jupiter, and this station Mercury. So with this one, there's a lot of change happening with what's, again, possible. And that's, we're going to feel that mostly in June in terms of it, I think, being an excellent month for really accessing and really asking ourselves what it is we enjoy, right? This goes back to that Jupiter and Leo. What is it that really gives us passion and excitement in life, and really putting that forward? Because Pluto is about change. It's about really making that change in our life to have more of that self-expression, more of that creativity, that playfulness, that fun. And even though it's got that square energy of the month, this is a very supportive aspect for the more freeing and inspiring side of things to make change for that more free-spirited energy. Now, as we go into August, Saturn goes station direct. This is the next big month of the remainder of the year. So this is good too, because a lot of the stuff that we've been reflecting on in terms of what we're building, again, going back to all this retrograde sort of energy. So here it's, what are we building? And this is in Scorpio. So is it meaningful to us? Is it real? Is it raw? Again, how can we be more intimate with ourselves and in our relationships? So anything involving Saturn, and you can check to see what Saturn rules in your chart to give you a better idea of what's moving forward, but anything involving Saturn, which is usually the long-term stuff, will start to shift. And I think that's another anticipated aspect or, the transition, which could be very nice. And I think here there's this shift of understanding more about, again, where we're headed, what we're building, and what we can continue to work on. And that's going to be a Saturn conjoining up to Mars, in fact. So they're really coming together here. And this is going to be in Scorpio. So it's that coming together of really moving things forward in terms of what really matters. Now, in September, we have the eclipses, of course. So this is going to be September 1st, the solar eclipse in Leo, which is that north node in Leo. And so here there's new beginnings with, again, the self-expression, the inspiration. But then, of course, there's still that Saturn squared Neptune. So, it's, again, and this has been the theme of the year, is, working on ourselves spiritually. And although there's inspiration, still seeing things in the long term and being patient with everything. It's probably the last thing everyone wants to hear right now, but this is what we can work on, and this is our spiritual development. And like I said, it's an excellent year for that. And here, I think, really building that presence, that acceptance, that faith and trust with the inspiration, and that goes back to this whole Jupiter squaring up to Saturn we're experiencing this week. Now, the lunar eclipse is going to be September 16th, so this is going to be in Aquarius, which is the south node. So here there's a culmination of a lot of the stuff we've been working on since March, just this last March, having to do with freedom in our life. At that time, we all went through this reflection of where we can have more freedom. Where have we been sacrificing our freedom? And so what we work on, what we're continuing to progress towards as we approach September there, will be coming to a culmination. And this will be a culmination of separation, letting go of, again, those things that are limiting our freedom. And that can be very freeing and also very transformative as well. It's a very transformative year. November, we've got Neptune conjoining the south node, releasing old, again, unconscious patterns, things in our life that are running behind the curtain that we're not aware of. And again, this goes back to understanding that there is these old unconscious belief systems that are actually getting in the way of us having the clarity, because true clarity comes from the present moment. And the mind can get involved with that, can create illusions, can create things, can create that screen. And that screen is exactly what's being released in each of us collectively in November. Now, Jupiter does square up to Pluto, and that's taking us into new energies. A lot of the new energies of 2017 are actually starting November, December. And with this one, this is a good inspiration, I think, to make change. And this could have to do with maybe the elections in the U.S. and this sort of thing on that level. But it is about seeing things in a, there's inspiration, there's hope, but at the same time, there's also a lot of work to do. And that's the square energy of remembering that with inspiration does come the work. Now, November, again, Saturn goes into Ophiuchus. All right, so now this is shifting in from the Scorpio energy with Saturn going back into Ophiuchus, emphasizing, I think, especially the healing side of things. All right, really diving deep, again, building things in our life that really matter and that are built on that intimacy. But that can be very transformative, particularly with the shift into Ophiuchus. And just so everyone knows what Ophiuchus is, because it's not common knowledge, Ophiuchus is what's considered the 13th sign of the zodiac, which actually passes through the ecliptic. And anything that's within a certain amount of declination of the ecliptic, any certain distance from the ecliptic, is considered a constellation you want to look at in astrology. So this one actually passes right through the ecliptic. It's after Scorpio, and it's about taking that Scorpio to the next level, the deeper thing into the healing thing. And that's where the galactic center is in the sky. And as you know, the galactic center is about that transformation. It's about going deep and doing whatever spiritual releasing needs to be done to have, again, that spiritual freedom. So that's going to be ongoing with Saturn there. But there's definitely that shift taking us into 2017. And then December, same thing. And this one is a bit more perhaps inspirational, but we want to stay nice and grounded, I think, because Jupiter is going to be opposing up to Uranus. So this could be the extremes of freedom, wanting to break free, wanting to have more freedom and independence in our life and make big changes. But with all oppositions, we do want to stay balanced, of course. Saturn trending up to Uranus is big change, probably with the systems that we are dealing with, probably governments, these kinds of things on a collective level of establishing what I think will be much more momentum and much more support to really start making change. Change for individual freedom, that sort of thing. And that's going to be, again, taking us into the next year. And this is in our personal lives too. What can we build in our life to have more freedom, to have it be the things we build in our life to be more of an expression of who we truly are? And the Jupiter sextile Saturn confirms that even more. So in a nutshell, what I'm seeing is things happening in steps. There's a lot of reflective energy right now at the moment. Things are definitely going to start to move forward with the more momentum and energy as we go into late June, early July. Things are uncertain, but again, this is all part of the game, to be working on ourselves spiritually and to have that acceptance, which leads to peace, leads to tranquility. Saturn goes direct in August. A lot of the stuff that we're reflecting on in terms of the big picture, we can start to move forward and build upon. And then the eclipses in September, I think, will be very important in terms of the shifts, taking us into these very new energies of taking this inspiration, taking all these possibilities, and actually turning them into something that's tangible and real.
Wow. It's what I say, go deep into infinitive waters. There's this guy on YouTube. He's from Africa, and he does infinitive waters YouTube. Thank you, Athens. That was great. I want you to bring out your information, and then I have a question for both you and Cynthia. Athens does do personal readings. I did a reading from him last year. Was that last year? Or the end of the year before? Time's going so fast. And it was so awesome. I'm going to call you again. Since then, Athens, I got my exact time of my birth, and so
great,
I'll call you again. So let everybody know where they can get a hold of you to do, and why it would be important to get your astrology read. Cynthia's talked about, you can go learn more about yourself personally and all that, and then I'll ask Cynthia and you your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what astrology is for, isn't it? It's for self-development, self-awareness, self-exploration. And the system I use is using the actual constellation. So, most of the stuff we're accustomed to is not actually using the real location of the stars in the sky. So if you were to literally go outside at the time of your birth and look up, the system is showing exactly which constellation everything's in. So, for those of you out there who want to get kind of familiarized with this, I do horoscopes, daily horoscopes, weekly and monthly on YouTube. You can Google or type in Mastering the Zodiac, or go to masteringthezodiac.com, and that's also where I have sessions as well.
And you can get a personal private session and his YouTube channel. That's great. I want to have you back, you and Cynthia together. This is great. Here's yet another brothers and sisters, diamonds. This is yet another action. I never thought of it until I created it, of the feminine and the male, the sacred marriage working together. Athens and Cynthia bringing the astrology, scalar wave, sacred marriage. Today we did that. That's beautiful. It's just beautiful to me. And so here's my question, you guys. Why did you pick the kind of astrology that you do? And give the name of it and then explain it. How's that? And they're both beautiful, and it makes a fullness tonight. So thank you both. So why did you pick the kind of astrology you use to bring it out? I don't know what that term is. You guys can explain it more. Whoever wants to go, Cynthia or Athens, whoever.
I guess you want to go first, Cynthia?
Oh, either way.
I'll start. So sidereal. It's the oldest form of astrology. It's been around. It's been around forever. I mean, it's as simple as going up and looking up at the night sky and seeing where everything's at. True sidereal is using the actual size of the constellations. The reason I use it is because it's real. You go outside and you look up, and it's where everything actually is. And in my work, I've actually found it extremely transformative. It seems to be a blueprint tropical is accurate. I don't want to give the impression that I'm bagging on tropical. I think it's very useful. I just personally feel like it's an expression of the fundamental chart, which we can always cast charts from charts as astrologers, but this is where everything was fundamentally, and then from there you can always look at other charts and things to get more detailed. But this seems
so
to be
I like how you explain sidereal astrology. It goes back to ancient times. Bring a little bit of that history. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's as simple as it is. It's the oldest form of astrology. It's been around forever. As long as we have been looking up at the stars and seeing a synchronicity, seeing an association between the stellar activity and our personal lives, that's how long we've been using sidereal. Tropical's recent. It's more new. It's when we started to build calendars and clocks and these kinds of things where we simplified the system. The system's, it's simplified now because we have technology which allows us to quickly cast a chart. If you wanted to cast like a sidereal chart, 1,000 years ago, that would have been a very complicated sort of process. So tropical definitely simplifies everything, and I think that's one of the keys about it. But this is the one where once we start looking up, we get in contact with nature and look at the stars. This is that fundamental essence.
Okay, Cynthia, why did you choose the type of astrology you chose? And it's all good. Everything's good, you guys.
I love what you said, Ashton. It makes perfect. It's Ashton.
Athens. Athens. Like the city without the S. Yeah.
Oh, Athens. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Athens. A-T-H-E-N.
Athens.
Athens.
Yep,
okay, I got it. I've never heard that name before. It's beautiful.
There must be some kind of programming in us, Athens, that wants to say Athen instead of Athens. It must be I don't know what it is.
It's actually probably more common. I probably get Athen more than Athens more than anything, actually.
It's beautiful. I've never heard it before, but it sounds almost angelic. But anyway, I think you said it when you said that the sidereal, this is, for me, is how it appears from the Earth looking up. And I would say that's absolutely correct. And the tropical that I use, the reason I've chosen it is from, it's like looking down. It's going from concept. The thing about the Earth is we're moving through space. Our solar system is moving through space. Our galaxy is moving through space at tremendous speeds. For example, the Great Attractor, which is located at 15 degrees Sagittarius, is pulling the Virgo cluster, our local group, and a whole number of galaxies into it at around 600 million kilometers a second. So we're not only moving at vast speeds through space and turning all the while, the Earth is spinning all the while, but we are also expanding. If you study quantum physics, according to Edgar A. Ostrander, we are doubling in size every 19 minutes. It's not exactly 19 minutes, but it's a little over 19 minutes. So we're getting bigger and we're moving. And so I think every 270, I forget right now, my mind is not remembering. I think it's every 72 years or 72. We shift from a sidereal point of view to the way things look because of just the way the Earth is spinning on its axis, the way we're going around the sun, the way the sun is moving. So it's constantly changing in sidereal. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at it more from a archetypal viewpoint based on very ancient teachings that go from concept to physical. In other words, it's kind of based on the fact that you have fire, air, water, and earth. You have delta, theta, alpha, and beta brain waves. You have, I'm way oversimplifying here, but fire meaning your deeper brainwave states where you feel yourself one with all creation and you come up with a desire. You come up with a desire, which is a certain brainwave oscillation of about, I would say, 4 to about 7 oscillations per second. It's higher delta and theta brainwaves, which are and your infancy and childhood state, which is why I think the Bible says ye must be as little children to enter the kingdom of heaven, because to enter the kingdom of heaven would mean to get out of victimhood, to get out of neediness. It would even mean getting out of righteousness and entitlement. It would be a place of just infinite power and wisdom, and yet realizing our oneness with everything would make us totally out of this separate thing of me being less than or more than anything else. And so coming from that viewpoint of just what would be the aether, which is the oneness, and fire, which is desire, down into theta or air, which is mental concepts. It is thoughts, it is beliefs, it's visualizations of what we've desired. And if you study quantum physics and the different dimensions, they have two parallel universes going, two parallel realities. And these parallel realities really are analogous to our waking state and our dreaming state. And studying lucid dreaming and studying how lucid dreaming is taught in the different systems of the world that deal with enlightenment, whether it's shamanism or whether it's from India or China, they're all basically saying the same thing, which is that we are creators. As long as we think we're not, we won't be, because we're creating that we're not. In other words, it's like self-fulfilling prophecies. It's like the Bible says, as a man or woman believeth in their hearts, so are they. And there's a place, I think it was John or maybe it was Paul, he says, lo, what I fear has come upon me. And that's, again, the law of attraction. We do create our reality. You can get three different people standing side by side looking at the same thing at the same time, and they will have three different reactions because they're unique beings. The way they perceive things, the way they emotionally react to things is unique. That's what a natal chart shows you. It says you're unique in this way. There's no two of us alike. And so you can have these three different people standing, touching shoulders at the same time in the same place. Say they're looking at a shopping center. Well, one of them is going, wow, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to find me some good sales. You know, I need this, this, and this. This is exciting. I'm going in. They're happy. They're jazzed. They're ready to go in there. Another one is standing there saying, boy, you know, this is urban blight. You know, this used to be a beautiful forest here. In fact, I've heard that they had to cap a beautiful spring that had been here for millions of years to put in that parking lot. I think I'll just go over here and cry. And then the third person is, you know, thinking about what to cook for dinner that night. It's just another shopping center. You know, this is boring. Think we'll have spaghetti tonight. Side by side, same moment in time, same place, three different complete realities. And the astrology that I'm looking at, when you look at whether you're looking at a birth chart or whether you're looking at transits, it's basically coming from the top down. It's saying these are the causative factors that work here. If you deal with electromagnetic energies, where the electric energies they go out. It's electric goes out, and magnetic draws in. Magnetic draws in. According to the ancient teachings, electricity is your will and it's your thinking, and magnetism is your emotions and your sensations. So to me, the sidereal would be, since you're standing on the earth with your five senses, you're looking up at the sky, would be magnetic. It would be, this is the reality that we as a collective, as the being of God, is manifesting in this time and this space. And it is accurate. But I would say it's the effect, whereas, and I need to think about.
Oh my God, Cynthia, you just said magnetic electric. There we go, the sacred union.
Yeah, it's a sacred union.
Wonder. No wonder. Little do I
mine.
know, doing things. Why I got you guys together.
It's perfect.
It just
because
happened. Isn't it
and
deep
it's
and
interesting.
beautiful?
It's interesting, too, because I'm female, but I'm going with what I would say is an electric system. He's male, and he's going with what I would call a magnetic system. So which is right,
God.
electric or magnetic, they're both right.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's just one is looking from down up and the other one's looking from up down.
And there's that scalar wave, and that's a sign of wonder. It makes you wonder, to me, is that we're exactly on our course of that's what we're doing inside of each of our bodies, you guys, and collectively. Wow. Avin, any comments?
No, that's pretty mind blowing. Electromagnetism. That's what it's all about, and that's astrology for you. It's showing the workings of the universe and how to work with those energies.
So, did you enjoy that? Both you and Cynthia, did you guys enjoy that? Bringing that forth together?
Oh yeah.
I've been longing for a good sidereal astrologer because that's where I am, lacking right there. That's a huge lack for me. So I love hearing what you think.
Well, Athens, I would love to propose to you tonight that would you come on the show once a month and do this with Cynthia again? This is just marrying all of us. I mean, this is a strong energy you do together for the energies going through us. Whether you know it or not, my knower is just telling you guys now.
Yeah, maybe something, where we do like a quick rundown of the weekly and maybe the weekly, or I guess it'd be the monthly, wouldn't it? Yeah, quick.
Oh, it'd be the monthly.
Once a month would be great, yeah.
Oh, really? What do you think, Cynthia?
I love it because that way people get both points of view and they are both valid. Believe me, they are very, very valid. It's like being on the ground looking up at the top of the tree and being up at the top of the tree looking down at the ground, which is real. They're both real, but they look different, but they're both real and they're both the same thing, and I love this.
Yes. Well, I'll be getting in touch with you, Athens, or you can. We'll figure it out. That'll be great. We'll do a monthly thing. Yeah.
Sounds
and
good.
again, you guys be sure to get a reading from Athens. It's just you could see very thorough, very detailed, as well as Cynthia's too. So again, give your how they can get a hold of you, Athens.
masteringthezodiac.com.
All right, I'll be in touch with you. Thank you. And I want to tell you, I didn't plan this. It just unfolds through me. I just go with the flow. I didn't plan this at all. I'm telling you, the unseen realm pushed us all together, you guys. That's the joy in my life. I like those little things every day, how things turn out, and you get surprised at it yourself, in person.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, it was my pleasure, and thank you again, Elizabeth.
Thank you, dear. All right. Should we bring in the candy jar news, and then we can see what goes on from there? And Chris will be back next Monday, guys. And Chris will be on the Candy Show Wednesday. Wait a minute, I'm confused. Yeah, that's right. Candy Show Wednesday, next Monday, Chris. And Cynthia, of course, and Candy. Cynthia, Marianne, Mary, is there anything you guys want to say? And then we'll bring in Candy when you guys are finished.
Marianne, I don't think Mary's here. I think she had to go do something. But, Marianne, I was fascinated by what you said about the Twin Towers. I really got a bolt of energy when you said that. Is there any more that you're picking up intuitively or whatever?
No, that's enough.
Well, yeah. Maybe so.
It's a filler-upper.
Rock and roll.
Candy,
okay?
Right?
That's all I'm going to say.
God, that was powerful when you said that.
Yeah. Filler-upper.
I felt a bolt of energy right in my
Marianne, let me count to three,
Marianne.
Marianne, let me count to three, and you say it. I'm going to try to say it exactly with you at the same tone you said it. Ready?
What?
1, 2, 3. It's a filler-upper. Where are you, Marianne?
Oh, I didn't know what we're saying.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Tell me when you're... All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's
a filler-upper. chills. I don't know about you guys. Woo! Oh, that was great. The law of one and the filler upper, Mary Ann's comments at the same time. My God, the energies are getting so wild. We're going to have to lay down in glory and just be a sponge. Whew. And ring out all over the city. In that thick glory of God. Anyway. Okay, somebody shut me up.
I don't have anything else to say. I'll just mute out.
Okay, thanks, Mary Ann.
Yep.
Candy, we're ready for sweets. Are you there?
I'm here, Elizabeth. This is Candy from the Candy Shop Show Wednesday nights. And I've got
no duh, Candy. I'm kidding. Okay, I'm going to mute out.
Okay, I got some candy jar treats to share, and I've got a special announcement later. Folks might want to have a pen and paper ready. But listen, we just had the full moon, and I was planning to do a special full moon ceremony at 14 past the hour this Saturday, and was trying very hard to be home and be calm and everything. And there was all this on my grocery shopping trip interference, and so I just took County Road home instead of the interstate and just looked for a place that would be appropriate. And wow, it just appeared there, and it was just so beautiful, and the pasture and the trees and the cows in the field, and my friend and I had a little ceremony, and we said the law of one, and I just am feeling as we're going into 5D, the telepathy abilities growing, and 15 minutes after the ceremony, I got a phone call from one of you guys on the show, and one of our fans, and it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful connection, and I just felt it beginning this wonderful month with the full moon of abundance and harmony, and it's so interesting how the overlap from the zodiac readings about relationships, but yet there's the and the financial situation and the retrograde, and I can certainly see this happening in my own life. We working on relationships here at Ozark Dawn, or as some are now calling it, Candyland. We had a little campfire last evening, and those of us here at Candyland joined in live, looking at the stars, and they were paler, of course, because the moon is still very bright. But it was a lovely evening. We were out there till almost midnight. And Saturday morning, we were doing some yoga in the woods here, and that was fun. But to start a group yoga classes, doing a lot of things in the gardening. Hope you folks are gardening. I planted some stevia. So hoping that will work out. I've done it 1 year in the past. This weather is so crazy. Who knows what's happening? Boy, my asparagus came up nicely this week. There's a headline out on the internet. It says that the brain function is more important for heart health than running and exercise kind of things. It says that ADHD can actually cause heart problems. So, we've got to get our chakras and the brain working right, and then we won't have to be so concerned with heart issues later in our lives.
Candy?
Now, yes.
Here's a good place to interject. I want to let everybody know. Elizabeth and Candy show every other Thursday. We're taking a little break, but somebody came along and took our spot. Wouldn't you know it? And it's a new show every other Thursday, along with Cynthia's long show on every other Thursday. And it's with Misty Lindstar. It's called We Are the Solution. Well, she'll be talking about health things for us and other stuff. So Okay, and that's starting. Cynthia, you're this Thursday, and next Thursday is Misty Lynn. We Are the Solution. So, yes, thanks, Candy.
And we did the We Are the Solution last week. I hope it's up on the internet now. And I was the guest speaker for Misty's first show, and she had me talking about, We Are the Solution by our lifestyle in the countryside with an intentional community. And so she had me sharing some details about how my little Candyland community came into being. Well, let's see. Another internet headline is that Mother Earth is actually the crop circle maker. And that was an interesting headline. We might get Chris to confirm it on my show Wednesday night. Remember, folks, it starts an hour later than this one. Before, I've heard that there was some kind of water beings that did it, and that it was partly that helped why the wheat and the things growing in the fields were not endangered. But then there's this new theory out. Okay, I've got a cash announcement. Yes, I'm continuing to work on the cash products and healing mechanisms, and I want to announce that I have a CO2 electrolyte GANS kit for sale for just $10, and it will include instructions of how to make a very healthy electrolyte drink for yourselves, and I'll be sending you the GANS mother, and you can use it and reuse it and reuse it. And this is a gentle way to begin to connect with Mr. Kesh and his Tesla-type products. So
that's a beautiful idea, Candy. Now, when somebody orders it, how easy is it to do? What do we have to do? Is it really simple?
Yes, it is. And so you just order from me. My phone number I'll give you, and I can take check, money order, or PayPal, and suggest a donation of $10. And so the instructions, you should use some good distilled water or spring water to make the drink with your GANS kit. And so you might have some of that on hand when it arrives. And I promise to get it out to you within 10 days of receiving your donation. And so my phone number is 417-389-4438. And I think you'll like the GANS that I made from natural sea salt with the Kesh instructions. Okay, moving on. We've got, and that was just a mini announcement. I got the special announcement at the end of the Candy Jar Treat. The news bites. Okay, they're talking on the internet about a Trump-Sanders ticket. So wouldn't that be interesting? Also, there was a story about how Trump helped these Marines in 1991, and I just thought that was a warm story where these 200 Marines, they got stranded. They were supposed to fly home to their families. Their families were waiting on a hot tarmac in Florida, and they were in North Carolina, and the base people said, oops, we forgot to schedule a plane to take you guys home. And somehow Donald Trump heard about it, and he sent his Trump 727 down there and got them home and then refilled and turned around and got the other 100. So got all 200 Marines home that day. And the Marine that was talking about this from Desert Storm this week on the internet, he said, I must say that in 1991, I had no idea who Donald Trump was, but I sure was grateful for his plane ride. And he said, of course, I haven't heard of the Clinton plane doing anything for Marines. So that was interesting. Well, let's see. What else is going on? In the Northwest, FEMA is preparing for a mega quake. Benjamin Davidson is saying on Suspicious Observers .org that we have 2.5 days of lull between earthquakes. There was a very strange earthquake in a very unusual place this week, but in 2.5 days from now, there will be a slight uptick in some earthquakes. And then he was talking about, he follows the movement of the planets, and he studied a lot about how the planets affect the earthquakes. And he says because of where Sagittarius is going to be in about 10 days, that we might have a mega quake then, if I understood him to say it correctly. So be watching out for that. Let's see, the next thing is Lake Mead. Now, we all know from this show how we are interested in things happening around Lake Mead because our friend Valiant Thor appears on our show, and reportedly the spaceship is cloaked there at Lake Mead. But there at Las Vegas, it was in the news because the water in the lake has dropped to the lowest level ever in history. Well, of course, the Nevada is in a drought area, but there was a history making. Next, Egypt Air is reportedly caused by an EMP, not from a war bomb, but from Mother Earth, as she's doing some cleansings. Just like a few years ago, the Air France downing and others. So, there's the answer for Egypt Air. Forget about the cabal and pointing fingers at everything else. It was a naturally causing event, and whenever there's been an airplane down like that, the suggestion is made, don't ever take that route again. They maybe should start thinking about closing down the Cairo airport because of its position there on those earthquake plates. Next, let's see. Sadly, there was a lot of volcanoes eruption in Indonesia, killing the villagers this week. On another note, May 13th, they're still advertising it online that Dr. Stephen Greer, MD, was on the Carol Rosen show with some very interesting things about the disclosure that our Diamond Network is working for. And I had forgotten that the doctor stood for an MD because I had some idea that he was maybe like a doctor in astronomy, but that's not the case. He had a lucrative medical career ahead of him, but he gave it up to help with disclosure. So that's Dr. Stephen Greer. I think he's getting more courageous in what he's doing lately. Next, Cynthia talked about the banking and the financial situation. Elizabeth put up an excellent summary of a report from Benjamin Fulford. I'm not going to go into detail about that, except to say, we're getting ready, as he reaffirms, for the global reset. So we're going to. There are lots of links in this particular Benjamin Fulford report, and I think it's important to go to Elizabeth's blog and look at that and look at those links and do a little bit more studying. Spend a little more than 10 minutes with Benjamin this week. And so remember, folks, it's diamondsforever31.blogspot.com. Now, everybody is saying that the Deutsche Bank is crashing. It's been crashing since January 1st, and there's a lot of talk about electronic assets being wiped out in this crash, and that the Deutsche Bank can't possibly survive beyond the third quarter this fall. And when, of course, electronic assets are wiped out, that means people are going to be losing their 401ks and their checking accounts and everything. And, of course, the Deutsche Bank did the derivatives more than any others. And so they're barely going to squeak through for the second quarter and hang on until the September-October time frame. And, some are wondering, well, boy, what's going to happen since apparently the Teamsters have or will be losing all 407,000 of them, losing their pensions. Next, Monsanto loses their merger deals with Bayer, Aspen, and Dow. Wow. I and my friends, we've been in some of these protests against Monsanto, and people are getting really unhappy that a big corporation like Bayer says, we don't want to be associated with you after all. Next, Sanders is on the news. Now, I haven't had a chance with all my gardening and all to look at mainstream news this week, but on the Internet it says Sanders breaks with the White House over the Puerto Rico fiasco. And, of course, we all know Puerto Rico went bankrupt a few weeks ago, and it's just a forerunner of what we could be looking at. So Galactics encourage us that they're going to make it as smooth as they can, but and the White Dragon Society, it's very interesting what they had to say about Rothschild and the things that are going on behind the scenes. And Christopher Stephen Jacobs told me that yes, an awful lot of heavy stuff is going on, and this Wednesday and next Monday he will be finally being allowed to share some of this heavy stuff that's going on behind the scenes as we're getting ready for disclosure. Well, okay, the special announcement. All right. Well, I was encouraged during the full moon meditation by my guide that it is time for me to branch out and to start doing some scanning and healing, a little bit the way Christopher Stephen Jacobs does it. And so that's what I'm announcing, that Candy Carroll is ready to do some healing work. And if anybody would like to be my first customers, I'm happy to do it for free these first few times that I am getting some experience at this. And so pencil and paper, my phone number again is 417-389-4438. My email is keytotruth@yahoo.com if you'd like to email me and see about scheduling a reading for yourself. And we're just mentoring each other and going and going more and more to help our fellow mankind and all the galactics.
I can hear your commercial now, Candy. Come, let the candy jar heal you. Yes, and that's great. Awesome.
That's right. Sweet chocolate.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the lid on the candy jar, and that's what I have tonight. But I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah, let me check and see if the room's open. Let's bring in questions, comments. Cynthia, if you have anything, hold on 1 second. I muted. Okay, everybody's unmuted. You can just star 6 to come on in. Cynthia, are you still there, too?
Yeah, it takes me a minute to unmute here. Yeah, I'm here, but you know what? I really don't know if there's anything else I have to say.
I know. I think it's complete. I just waiting for you guys to come in and make a comment or questions or anything. Anybody want to add anything to this beautiful energies tonight? Man, they're strong. My head is, I got lots of pressure in my head right now. Even though I'm laughing, I'm holding my head and closing my eyes. But it shall pass. It's just healing, I'm sure. So come on in, guys. Anybody want to just say hi? We want you guys to talk to us too. Well, everybody's silent.
Oh, I'm here, Sunny.
Oh, honey, Sunny, how are you?
Came in a little late. What stuck with me is when Cynthia talked about the architecture, structural engineering. It was a North Node at 18 Virgo. I was taught immediately of my friend Belden, who's on the show every other second Tuesday of the month.
Yes, you guys, this is Sunny, and I've thought of the same thing too, Sunny. Be sure to visit Voices from the Alternative World every Tuesday. Those are some good subjects going on. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so he's a specialist in this field, the geodesics and dodecahedron, icosahedrons, and all those things. So he's on second Tuesday of the month on Voices of the Alternative World. So that just sprung out at me when Cynthia talked about that. So it's been, and I like the new guy there. That's interesting to have somebody else on, Athens. She had a lot of interesting things to say. So I like him. Everything I said was good.
Yeah.
Encouraging. Yeah.
And I want to announce I just got done moving. I moved from a house in the country on top of a hill, which was nice, but I even moved to a nicer place. It was built in the 90s, but it was built on purpose for a old-style colonial house with a wraparound porch surrounded by hedges of bushes right next to the Mississippi River. And I'm in the basement, Cynthia, and it's just beautiful, you guys. So, and I'm just renting a room, but there's a kitchenette down there, there's a bedroom, there's a living room, there's a bathroom. So I'm going with the flow. And these last 3 times that I've moved, here's an example of the universe pushing you when there's a square, like Cynthia says, pushing you no matter what. The last 3 times I moved, I was able to sort down in less material stuff, which is very, very hard to me to throw away things, but Cynthia gave me a revelation of that. Even if you throw it away, it still will have a life of adventure in a different kind of life, like reincarnation. But that was the universe's way of sorting me down through my stuff. I went from a great big house with 3 grandkids and my daughter, and a series of moves, 4 or 5 moves in the last 2 years. It's been interesting, but it's been fun. So I want to put that in there. And it's off of Cynthia. What does this mean, Cynthia? It's off of Highway 101 and River Road.
Wow. Well, 101 River Road. Well, there again you have the masculine and the feminine. River being water, being magnetic, being emotional, because water and emotions are the same element. And then 101, one is the original fire. It's the beginning, the one being, the delta brainwave.
And I'm in a colonial-style house, which is not all square rooms. They have little niches off the side with chairs, and it's beautiful. But here, get this. It's in a house. It's got like a pyramid roof. Wow. I'm in the basement on Mother Earth, and right by a river where water. It reminds me of the pyramids in Egypt because they got water too system. What the heck is going on, Cynthia, right?
Sounds beautiful to me. Sounds like you're being blessed.
I'm blessed, and I thank you, Galactics and Universe, for helping me and blessing me. And, here's the revelation I got today walking outside. We talk about the Galactics helping us, and, we're going away from the savior mode, saviors. They're all helping us. We often talk about, but you guys have to think, too, that we're just part of it. We help them, too. Like, for example, Cynthia, when we do the prayer of one and Chris is here and we pray for those galactic, Chris goes somewhere with his third eye, when we pray for a group of galactics that are in a different dimension for the law of one. And if we didn't go there with the law of one, Chris's eye, and, they wouldn't have been able to be helped. So we're literally helping them like they help us. Do you guys do you get a revelation out of that when I say that, Cynthia? Did I say it right?
Oh, it's always that way. Everything goes in a circular motion. We reap what we sow. They're helping us. We're helping them. When one is helped, all are helped.
And we are all one.
Yeah.
And we're diamonds shining brighter every day, guys, right?
Absolutely.
So keep shining diamonds. And what would your last line be? And we'll finish it up, Cynthia.
Well, let's just finish it up this way. If you're being helped, it's helping everybody else because you're being helped. If you're helping someone else, it's helping you because it's helping everybody. So let's just, let's turn to love. If you're loving yourself and taking good care of yourself, you'll be better able to love others and help them. If you're loving them, they'll be better able to love you. So let's just test love. It says love conquers all, and the two-torus energy field of the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. So if we can get out of our brains, get in our hearts, and just blast everything with love, bless ourselves with love, bless our past, everything that's happened to us in the past, all the good and the bad, everything we think might happen in the future, just blast it with love. And then what I've found out is when you blast things with love, they come under your dominion. And when they come under dominion, they're looking for instructions because as humans, as sons and daughters of God, we have dominion. And I just tell them, the highest good of all concern, I do the law of one. That seems to take care of everything like an automatic pilot. So that's my final comment. Same old, same old.
That's beautiful. So I bless you, Cynthia. Thank you for what you do. And I bless all of you listening and all that you help with the Diamonds Network, all of us, the Diamonds energy that goes out, all of us, everybody helps with that. So I bless you all. Blessings. See you tomorrow, Voices, and the rest of the week, and see you back here Monday. Good night.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.